Okay, so point number 2, a wife is accountable to God for every word she speaks. If that doesn't make you shake in your boots, I don't know what does. That's so convicting. And that's not just for marriage, that's just for life. Um, every every careless word that men shall speak, they shall render account for it in the day of judgment. Yeah, that's all I said about that. I don't want to say too much on each point because then this will become really long. But yeah, just careless words, idle, lazy, useless words, and the saying that she uses, some people talk just to hear themselves talk. Really, like, examine yourself. Like, I think this is it's a good area to mature in. It's not necessarily sin to talk a lot, but you really want to examine yourself. Like, why do I talk a lot? Am I talking mainly about myself? Are you more of a question asker so that you can listen to other people? So that way you're showing that you care about the person you're talking to versus wanting to just talk about yourself the whole time. Or are you really opinionated? There's so many Proverbs verses on speech. They're really, really convicting, not in a like spiritual sense, like you're wrong if you are opinionated, but you can easily fall into sin in that way. It's a kind of like a shaky road, but there's so much wisdom behind it. So I love those passages in Proverbs. So I would encourage you to check those out. Principle 3, a wife is to speak the truth to her husband, but speak it in love. Kind of like the reproving thing. She gives an example of like a husband being really critical or something of someone and just being able to point that out to them. It's good and right for you to do that as their sister in the Lord. I would just make sure that your voice, your face, your attitude are genuine for their holiness, and that you pick a good time to do it. In front of the person may not be the best time. Whispering, while you're having dinner with friends may not be a good time. A time when you're alone at home, that you're not going to be interrupted and you can talk about it seriously, but also, from a loving place would be really good. Number 4, a wife must put off any wrong speech. And I like how she defines like anger, wrath, malice, slander. She just defines what they are, She said anger can express itself in extremes, from a slight edge in your voice to screaming, cursing, and full-blown wrath. So, even if you just sound a little, you're not screaming, you're still, showing anger. Malice is meanness, desiring ill towards another person. Slander is painting someone in a bad light. All these things hurt people. And if our intention is to hurt people, we are in sin. And we need to change that. I love that she says control is harder during menstruation time. Yeah, thank you for totally acknowledging that to be true. But with God, all things are possible, and we can have self-control even in those times. He will help us. And she says, begin by confessing to God each and every time you speak in a wrong way. That's a really good practice because it helps you to catch yourself beforehand. You start to catch yourself instead of just being this bleh, your brain's like connected to your mouth, instead of having like a stopping point, think and then come out. Instead of having that diarrhea of the mouth, you can get into a good practice where you'll start stopping and thinking before you open your mouth. And that's a really good practice to be in, I think. Number 5, a wife must give her husband the benefit of the doubt when it comes to judging